The morning sun cuts through the Howard family kitchen like a blade through silence. Coffee grows cold in forgotten cups. Footsteps echo down an empty hallway, searching for someone who isn't there. Nick Howard's bedroom door stands open, revealing an untouched bed and clothes laid out for a day that never came. For 18 years, Nick had been the heartbeat of this house. The golden boy with the easy smile and dreams bigger than his small town. He spoke often of becoming a millionaire before 30, his eyes bright with the reckless confidence only youth possesses. But now, that heartbeat has stopped. The family gathers in the living room, worry transforming into something darker. Fear. Nick had never not come home. Never. The call to police comes at 9:47 a.m. Highway Patrol Officer Martinez arrives at the treacherous road running parallel to the Sacramento River. This isn't just any road, it's a death trap disguised as asphalt. 30-foot drops on one side, churning river water on the other, claiming lives with mechanical precision. 2 days of searching yield nothing but questions and growing dread. Then, like a ghost materializing from the depths, Nick's car emerges from 18 feet of dark water. The engine tells its own story. Scratch marks on the radiator from the fan belt grinding against plastic, proof the engine was running when it hit the water. But the driver's seat sits empty as a tomb. Detective Sarah Chen crouches beside the recovered vehicle, her trained eye catching details others miss. Nick's broken glasses scattered on the floor, windows rolled down, and something else. A strange, milky film coating the interior, like automotive blood. Motor oil. But why? In the trunk, they find the source. An empty Valvoline bottle. Its contents having spilled throughout the car during its underwater journey like evidence trying to speak. Chen's partner, Detective Rodriguez, shakes his head at the scene. If Nick had fallen asleep at the wheel, there would be steering corrections, brake marks, some sign of human intervention. But the path down the embankment is too clean, too straight, too perfect. The car sits in neutral, odd for a manual transmission whose driver supposedly lost control. But the real revelation comes when Chen examines the carburetor. Wedged inside, holding the throttle open like a mechanical finger on a gas pedal, sits a bottle cap marked with a single letter. V. This car was rigged to drive itself into the river. The testing facility hums with scientific precision as investigators replicate the bottle cap mechanism in an identical vehicle. When the engine starts, the car lurches forward on its own, a driverless machine following its programmed path to destruction. But where is Nick Howard? 3 weeks later, the Sacramento River surrenders its secret. Nick's body surfaces a quarter-mile downstream, waterlogged and bearing the marks of violence no car accident could explain. The autopsy reveals the truth in stark medical terms. Strap muscle hemorrhaging in the neck, the unmistakable signature of manual strangulation. Bruises painting his face like a map of violence. Internal injuries consistent with a savage beating. Water in his lungs tells the final, horrible chapter. Nick Howard was still breathing when he entered the water. He didn't die in that car. Someone killed him first, then staged the accident with theatrical precision. The insurance investigation begins with one simple question. Who profits from an 18-year-old's death? The answer arrives in the form of policies totaling $850,000, an astronomical sum for someone barely out of high school. But when Nick's mother searches through the paperwork, she discovers something that turns her blood to ice. The beneficiary isn't family. It's Ralph Marcus, 37 years old, unemployed, a man with a police record and a 20-year obsession with a woman who wanted nothing to do with him. Marcus had first encountered Patty Howard in high school, and their initial meeting nearly landed him in jail for assault. But rejection only fed his obsession like gasoline feeds fire. For 2 decades, he pursued her with the persistence of a predator stalking wounded prey. Marriage proposals that became increasingly desperate. Bizarre offers to buy her eggs for $50,000. Threats that grew darker with each passing year, each refusal adding another layer to his twisted fantasies. When the family finally severed all contact, Marcus found another way in, through their son. He played the role of benefactor, taking Nick on trips to Tahoe and Reno, showing him a lifestyle funded by insurance scams and gambling debts. To an impressionable teenager, Marcus must have seemed like freedom incarnate. But when police search Marcus's home, they find something that chills their souls. Nick's life insurance paperwork spread across Marcus's desk like a battle plan for murder. The evidence crystallizes like ice forming over deep water. The lot number on the oil bottle found in Nick's trunk matches exactly with a bottle in Marcus's garage. Manufacturing codes don't lie. They whisper truth in numbers that can't be argued away. Investigators reconstruct the final night like archaeologists piecing together a tragedy. Marcus convinced Nick to fake his own death for the insurance money, $850,000 to start a new life in South America. To an 18-year-old dreaming of millions, it sounded like salvation itself. But Marcus harbored different plans, darker than Nick could imagine. On the dock beside the Sacramento River, Marcus struck. Perhaps Nick tried to back out. Perhaps this had always been the end game. Eliminate the only witness while destroying the woman who had rejected him for 20 years. He strangled Nick until consciousness faded, then threw him into the dark water like discarded trash. But the performance wasn't over. Marcus bent Nick's glasses and placed them in the car. He opened the windows, positioned the oil bottle cap in the carburetor, and sent the empty vehicle on its final, driverless journey into the river. Had it not been for sharp-eyed detectives and the unforgiving science of accident reconstruction, Ralph Marcus would have collected $850,000 and vanished forever. The courtroom crackles with tension as spectators pack every seat. News cameras line the hallway, drawn by the bizarre nature of the crime that has captivated the community like a real-life thriller. Prosecutor Amanda Sterling rises, her voice cutting through silence like a scalpel through flesh. The evidence unfolds like chapters in a horror novel written in blood and betrayal. Detective Chen takes the stand, her testimony methodical and devastating. She holds up the bottle cap, that small piece of plastic that became a smoking gun, explaining how Marcus transformed Nick's car into a remote-controlled weapon aimed at an innocent boy's heart. This wasn't passion. This was calculation, premeditation, cold-blooded murder disguised as teenage recklessness. The accident reconstruction expert demonstrates the bottle cap mechanism using a courtroom model. Gasps ripple through the gallery as the implications crystallize. The level of planning required, the deliberate nature of every murderous detail. Ralph Marcus sits at the defense table, his face a mask of arrogance, even as witness after witness dismantles his alibi like demolition experts tearing down a condemned building. The lot number evidence destroys any remaining doubt. The oil bottle came from the same manufacturing batch as the one in Marcus's garage. Dr. Patricia Williams delivers the most chilling testimony, describing Nick's injuries in clinical detail. The strangulation marks. The evidence that he was conscious when he hit the water. The water in his lungs proving he drowned alive, terrified, betrayed by someone he trusted. This young man died in absolute terror. When Patty Howard takes the stand, the courtroom falls silent as a grave. Her voice trembles as she recounts 20 years of unwanted advances, threats, and psychological torture. He had told her she should know what it's like to lose a child. Then he made sure she did. Marcus's defense crumbles under the weight of forensic evidence like a house built on quicksand. His claims of innocence ring hollow against scientific facts that speak louder than any lawyer's rhetoric. The insurance paperwork spread across his desk, the matching oil bottles, the rigged car, the staged accident scene, the 20-year obsession that curdled into homicide. His entire adult life had been built on cons, insurance fraud, and an obsession that transformed love into murder. A man for whom other people's lives were merely tools in his elaborate games of deception. The jury deliberates for less than 4 hours. When they return, their faces are carved from stone. The foreman stands, his voice steady as judgment itself. Guilty of first-degree murder. The courtroom erupts. Patty Howard collapses into sobs, not of joy, but of relief that justice has finally found her son's killer after traveling through 18 feet of dark water and 20 years of twisted obsession. Life in prison without the possibility of parole. Detective Chen organizes the files from the Nick Howard case, each piece of evidence telling part of a story written in blood and betrayal. The bottle cap, the lot numbers, the insurance paperwork, the rigged car. Sometimes the smallest detail breaks the biggest case. Sometimes justice emerges from 18 feet of murky water, carried by science and the relentless pursuit of truth. Nick Howard died believing he was partnering with a friend on the adventure of a lifetime. Instead, he became the victim of a man whose love had twisted into something monstrous, whose rejections had fermented into revenge over 20 long years. Ralph Marcus's perfect crime was undone by his own arrogance and investigators who refused to accept that an 18-year-old boy could simply vanish without explanation. The Sacramento River keeps its secrets well, but not forever. Some ghosts demand justice, and sometimes they get it.